What is up, my tricksters? It's your friendly neighborhood Yu-Gi-Oh superhero back again for another Fun Deck Friday, and this is the one before Christmas. Or solstice in my case, but who cares? Anyway, Frank's going to let you know you guys can support the channel real quick. I do have one quick announcement before we get into that, though. And that quick announcement is that you guys will probably see a very minimal amount of content from me for a little bit. I plan on spending the weekend relaxing, doing stuff with family, the holiday stuff. I'm gonna live a little, okay, and then once after the holidays are past, we're gonna go, full force back into this bad boy. All right. So anyway, guys, I hope you guys have a blessed solstice and a happy holidays. Frank, take it away.
Hello, tricksters! If you would like to support this channel, here's an easy way for you guys to do so. The best way for you guys to support this channel, is first and foremost, check out that Your Playmat link in the description below. If you click on that, you get 10% off, and who doesn't want a little bit of money off when you get custom sleeves and custom mats and all sorts of cool stuff. So make sure you check out Your Playmats, as well as the Ben 10,000 yugioh merch store on the Spring store. Make sure you check that out too, because look at all this cool artwork. And if you scroll down enough, you'll see something really cool that I really want to promote. It's stuff with my face on it, right here. So go get something with my face. Or you can catch out any of this other cool stuff, activate Lost World, and get a cool Trickster shirt, let the whole world know that you're part of the Ben 10 gang with the Tricksters. As well as all these Omni-Hand stuff. Alright, Ben, take it away!
All right, thank you, Frank. If you guys want to support the channel, do all the things that Frank said to do, because it'd be greatly appreciated. Alrighty, guys, let's go ahead and talk about the branded Invoked deck. So recently I got all the Invoked cards and I decided I wanted to mess with them, and I was, as you guys saw in the last Fun Deck Friday, I was tinkering with the Tier Lament branded deck, and that was fun and all, but it really just wasn't quite as consistent as I would have liked it to be. But this deck really does have all the consistency I was looking for. So, and lots of negation, lots of disruption, board breaking. This deck really does have the whole 9 yards. I'm going to talk about something very specific. And at the point of watching this video, you guys probably saw a short about this monster. So, yeah. Anyway, guys, let's go ahead and talk about it. We got one Dark Magician. You need this card for Dragoon, and the only reason why we're doing this is you actually don't need this. We could have put Light Hex Sealed in here, or Dark Hex Sealed, or whatever. But I wanted to go with a Dark Magician or a Red Eyes, because the idea in my head was that way you have a normal monster to so you can get the pop effect, and that just seems a little bit too good to pass up. Free damage, etc. Plus Dragoon is just a beast of a monster. It probably should be on the ban list, honestly. Then we're playing one of Dogmatica Floridis the Knighted or whatever. This card is basically just a chump blocking card. Or it can be an extension so that we have another monster to throw at our opponent and go for game. That is all this card serves. So no, we're not using it as a negate because I don't have the rest of the Dogmatica stuff to really warrant using that. But if I ever do get a hold of the Dogmatica stuff to use this card as a negate, you'll see an update to this deck in the future. Then we have Albion. This card is basically just an upstart goblin. It's just in the dragon form. It also can be kind of used as a secondary Albaz card. Then we got Shit All Beast. If it goes to the graveyard for any reason, like off of Branded Fusion, we're gonna draw a card. That seems really good. Making a Winda off of our fusions seems really good. I like that. Then we got Albaz. This card's really important. Also, it's not a really bad normal summon, believe it or not, especially if you're going second. This card can be a board breaker. Funny enough. So yeah, you're ditching a card, fusing with the opponent's stuff to make your stuff. It's really love that. All right, then we got Spriggan's Kit in here because we don't have the Despia stuff, so we're using the Spriggan's Kit, which actually works out really well for us, especially because pending on future ban lists, certain cards might get banned, so this might be actually the operative card to play, ironically enough. Spriggan's Kit can be an extension if we have already made the fusion monster, and it also, if not, it can just be a Rhoda, and it is also a starter, which is something that a lot of decks need, is they need starter cards, and this deck has it in spades. I would argue, I think this deck has a total of 14 starter cards, so that's just over 1/4 of the deck is just starters. And some of the starters are also extensions and make great cannon fodder for other things. So there's that. Then we got our Alistair the Invoker. This card is another, like, is a starter, is also kind of a hand trap. It's an honest, if you will. Which I like that. Giving a fusion monster 1,000 extra attack and defense can be so good. So it's also a spellcaster, which means it can get us out of certain jams. I love that. Then we got our Tri-Brigade Mercurier here. This card is a pseudo starter, so basically it's comboed with another card to get us a starter card. So, as well as being another basically effect veiler. I love that. It's fantastic, but you only need one because it is searchable. Then we have our Kios here. This is another combo piece. You need this card, so it's another way to make shit all Winda. Basically, if we need to, we're going to use Albion to make Winda. We'll send Kios and Albaz here. Especially if we happen to draw the shit all beast in that hand. It might also be a fun idea because, we to ditch the beast, boost everything, and then beast gets a draw. It's all good. Anyway, we got DD Crows because I don't have the Beasteel cards yet. If I get a hold of the Beasteel stuff, though, like I said, if I ever get a hold of some of it, which I'm sure I will because reprints are bound to happen, you'll see an update to this deck because those cards are really good and really too good to be passing up. But in the meantime, we have DD Crow, which fills the goal. It does the trick. I actually beat a real branded player who was playing the Beasteel branded stuff because of this card. He was trying to use Albion, and I was like, nah. Really fun. Anyway, then we got Effect Veilers because, negation. We need that. Like I said, if we ever get the rest of the Dogmatica stuff, we'll probably swap this out for that because this card can do negation most of the time when this card can. So, then we got your Branded Fusion, another starter card. Super powerful. Love this card. I hate that Ash Blossom stops this, but y'all know I hate Ash Blossom, so that's nothing new for y'all. Then we got the Upstart Goblin. Deck thinning. We ditch a lot. We have a lot of cards in this entire deck that require us to discard or give something up to do the thing. So, to use Albaz, we have to discard a card. To use Makaba, we have to discard a card. To use Super Poly, we have to and Twin Twisters, we have to discard a card. So I decided the Metal Foes Fusion was the perfect card to have as a tech card in this deck because it would keep those resources even, and if our opponent happens to mill us, it could be a potential draw, a potential +1, and that's just seemed too good to pass up. Terraforming, starter card, pseudo starter card because it gets us to Magical Meltdown, which is a starter card. So, yes. Invocation, and yes, I know this looks weird. I'm using the newer artwork just because I thought it looked cooler, to be honest, than the original. But, hey, whatever. They work the same. But Invocation is a really cool one because, the only thing that sucks is because with all the Beasteals running around, it can be a little bit hard to fuse from the graveyard. But, that being said, with all the other stuff that's roaming around, one of the weird things about this card is there's been a few times where my opponents, I've used runic cards to banish the top of my deck, and this card ends up being cost for something like a Twin Twisters, and they've banished an Alistair the Invoker for me, so it's oh, well then I'll just put that back and get that back, and it's hilarious. Anyway, I've gotten a few rage quits. Gold Sark, starter card. It's basically we're gonna ditch the Mercurier here to get through Spriggan's kit, and then from there we're gonna go get Branded Fusion. So it's basically a 1-card starter. Monster Reborn, just extending. It's also makes great cannon fodder. So if you have to do something, also being able to take an opponent's monster can come up. So Call by the Grave because who hates hand traps? This guy. I hate hand traps with a passion. Honestly, I feel like if Ash Blossom is going to be at 3, this card should also be at 3, but that's just my personal opinion there. We got Twin Twisters because we got to get through the back row, and this deck kind of doesn't have a lot of really good back row hate cards, and I feel like with everything we're trying to combo through, excuse me, Twin Twisters seemed really good. Just get rid of 2 cards, probably pitch off a Metal Foes Fusion, kind of works out. Or in some cases, even pitching an invocation so that we can spin back a banished Alistair the Invoker, because that seems to be a play that I've seen a lot of uh, like Bestial players doing, trying to get rid of the Invoker before I can actually use it as fusion material. So comes up in that aspect too. So then we got the Super Polys. This is your primary board breaking card and a necessary evil in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Especially right now, I have to say. I know that there are a ton of players in the game right now who hate Super Poly, but the truth of the matter is it's a necessary evil. It's one of those cards that it has to exist while we have these ridiculous boards. So while we have these boards of 7, 8, 10, 20 fucking negates, then yes, we're going to have to deal with Super Poly. And if you don't like it, cry about it, I guess. I don't know. It's a necessary evil. And I still argue it's less evil than Ash Blossom. I said what I said. Anyway, then we got Paradise Branded. This card is just another searcher card, as well as protect the ability to fuse. Although I am annoyed because it seems to me that neither of these cards are protecting our Branded Fusion from Ash Blossom, which I find very frustrating. It's like, what the heck is even the point? But we use this card also to search for cards like Mercurier or Spriggan's Kit, so we can get extra extra negation fodder, or extra extenders, that kind of thing, or even a starter. And then we got your Magical Meltdown. This card searches for Alistair the Invoker, so it does also double as a Rhoda, and we use it to get back Alistair, and then of course it does protect our ability to fuse. Branded Blade is in here just as a fodder card for the Albion, the Shrouded Dragon. But we also can use it, to be honest. If we get Branded Paradise and a Branded Fusion in the graveyard, we can just flip this and get tokens, and that can be a chump block, as well as if our opponent does banish our Alistair, it's a way, or one of these cards that mentions it, it's a way to get it back. So yeah. All right, now we're on to the extra deck, and like all of these videos, you mostly can ignore the sideboard and play what you think is best for you. But my sideboard's just for what I typically come across on Edo Pro, so let that do what you will there. Invoked Macabre. This card is, and this is again one of the newer artworks. Just that was just me testing something with the algorithm. I don't really care about the artwork either way on that one with Invoked Macabre, but it's a negate. It's an Omni negate. It's just based off of what you have in your hand. So spells and monsters are the most dangerous thing in the game right now. So this guy is what you're gonna do. Although the banishing ability over destruction has come up in some past games where this card was actually outshined Dragoon, believe it or not. So that's kind of funny, because it does banish a card as opposed to destroying it. Then we got your Dragoon. This card is just in here, like I said, because it's a really powerful fusion monster, being able that it can't be destroyed, can't be targeted, is a negate, also does burn damage and destroys cards. This card is literally the epitome of a boss monster. So while we're in this kind of format that we're in, this card is kind of a necessary evil too, especially for I think Invoked players. So play this card, especially while it's affordable. Then we got the Mirror Jade, the Ice Blade Dragon. This is just climbing up there with the Brand Diffusion package. It's a non-target banish. It's also kind of out to Dragoon, just throwing it out there. Also, it can blow up the field, so your opponents are really careful about how they get rid of this. Then we got your Super Poly target, Starving Venom. Another Super Poly target, Predaplant Dragostopelia. We can also make this with Lubellion and Albion if we have deceased, fusions and dark monsters in the graveyard. So that's just kind of fun there. It also is negation. Great card, so it's multi-use in this deck. Then we got Lubellion. This is the card I was trying to tell you guys that you probably saw a short for this earlier than this video. This card I'm going to keep singing the praises of, because this card is literally a lifesaver when you are playing in a format where the Bestials are going to exist. The Bestials are used constantly to out things like Albaz, out things like our Alistair the Invoker. This card is going to let us fuse anyway, because basically we can spin back from the banish or the graveyard. I can't tell you how many times on Edo Pro I've had a Bestial player go, oh, that's right, it can put it back from the banish pile too. Damn it. You know what I mean? So this card just kind of forces them to get rid of a resource or waste a resource on a card that they otherwise wouldn't be all that helpful. So I've also had really funny moments where like somebody will bounce the Lubellion back, where Lubellion often, in my experience, only is served as a chump block after its effect has resolved. So after we've made the Dragoon, which we most likely have spun back an Albaz and a Dark Magician, uh, our opponent will. I had one opponent like Kelbeck this card back to the extra deck, and I was like, okay, he was just a 3,000 defense, and that deck really didn't have any outs to Dragoon, so with that particular opponent. Then we got Albion here. This is just the other dragon, and this one actually is the better one out of the two, cost-wise. You send a light and an Albaz to make this guy, and our targets are Effect Veiler, the light Shidal, Kyrios, and our Defleur, or our Knight, or whatever, our Dogmatica Knight, basically. But we're probably just going to use the Shadal one, because most likely if we're using this card, we're just trying to make El Shadal window. Or we're using it as a stepping stone for stuff that was already, like, maybe it's in the mid-level of the game, so we can get something bigger and stronger. Then we got Invoked Aguedos. I don't think that's how you say it, or Aguedes. I may be pronouncing that wrong, but basically this card is Alistair plus a fusion monster. So this card is also kind of a super poly target, is also kind of a like, for example, if you draw, if your opponent has a fusion monster on the field, so like if we're in a mirror match of some kind, I can super poly away or something like that. That's really fun and useful. Also, this card can make himself really big, banishing the stuff from the banishing a fusion monster that's in the graveyard, so this guy can get really big, as well as popping a card seems really good. So yeah, then we got our El Shadal window, Floodgate. We need that. It limits to one special summon for those of you at home who may not know what that does. Mud Dragon is a super poly target, so two monsters, same attribute, different types. That's really an easy one to fulfill. So we got it. Then we got Invoked Caliuga. We need this plus Alistair the Invoker plus a Dark Monster. And we got those in spades. And our one Link monster, and the reason why where I got this one is because I finally got a hold of a copy of this card now that it's been reprinted into Oblivion. Basically, the old way to do Alistair was you had to climb into the Salamangrate Link monster, and then climb into Link Gardena, I think is its name. I use it in Dinosaurs all the time. And that was so you could get to a light monster. But the thing about that is that it's, it also, it counts on your summons more, and this counts on it less, so like you're less likely to get Nibiru, for example. The only thing that sucks about this is if we have to use Brand Diffusion before, if we have to use Brand Diffusion that turn, we can't use this at all. So if we didn't draw Brand Diffusion and we didn't draw anything to get to it that turn, then go ahead, use this, make your Makaba that way. But, if not, it is what it is. And that's the end of it, guys. I hope you guys liked this video. I know this is the last one you guys will see before the official holidays. I believe, well, technically, I think Friday is a holiday for me, technically, but, this is a pre-recorded video. So, anyway, guys, make sure, I'm going to let you guys check out some replay footage if you guys want to see this deck in action and kind of get an idea of what it is capable of. But before I do that, I want to remind you guys to give me a thumbs up, like the video, comment something you think you'd like to see in the deck. If you're down for that, you guys have a blessed holiday, and I hope to see you guys going into the new year. Peace.